Hello and welcome to
Hey, we like your pod.
And we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I'm joined, as always, by my trusted partner, Matt Pickett. How you doing, Matt?
I'm really good. I'm feeling really good. Family just
Good.
got back from going to see Wicked, which was huge fun. Really enjoyed it. I didn't know the show that well. Like I've never even listened to the Broadway cast recording or whatever straight through. I don't know the songs except for what you kind of hear here and there, but it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it, and the kids had a blast.
Yay.
Apart from that, just like I'm really excited to be here talking with you, Dawn, because there was 2 Packers victories since we last spoke. 2 awesome, fun games, and quick shout out, hey Bill, in the comments here. Thanks for joining us.
Bill. Nice to see you.
And yeah, but between that and like a delicious Thanksgiving, I made the turkey. I think I might have mentioned that before that I was going to do it, and I was kind of grumpy about it leading up to it. But then once I got going working on it, I was really having fun. So I'm doing great. You know, of course, also with working in higher ed, you tend to get like Thanksgiving and the day after off. So 4-day weekend, but then I also took Wednesday off to start with the cooking. So kind of like riding a 5-day weekend high. So I'm doing great, Dawn. How are you doing?
I love that. I love that. Cooking can be very therapeutic and fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I usually want to kick this time of year because everybody else is, but I didn't this year. I didn't, do anything. I mean, I didn't do anything except watch football. I visited. Yeah, I went to my friend's house and stuff, but I didn't do anything except watch football. And yeah. I mean, I took a couple days off too because I've always got projects going on, and I'm gearing up for some art projects that I want to do, big ones, and some getting inspiration. So I was like doing that. I watched a couple movies. I really love Ariana Grande's voice. I mean, it's just spectacular.
She's so good in that movie too. I didn't even know. Like, I don't know her music very well. I was very impressed.
Right. She has quite the voice, and it's funny. And I kind of like her. She's just fun, but it's funny because, something I did on YouTube told YouTube to send me all these things about Ariana Grande last week. And there's a lot of like the dark side of Ariana Grande's rise and that kind of thing. And I do know there's like a real divide, like people who really don't like her. And I always thought, oh, she's just talented. Everyone wants to beat up on the person who's on top. But I think it's a little more than that. She's done and said some really wild things. So
hate to see it.
Yeah, I do too. But I love like when she goes to the Grammys, and her fashion choices and stuff are really fun. So, and I love her on Jimmy Fallon. They do these voice offs, and he'll say, do Celine Dion, do Barbara Streisand, and she just, oh my gosh, she just nails it. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those.
No, I have to check that out. That sounds like fun.
Really good. I knew you'd really like that, I think. Anywho, I'm so excited to talk with you. I was saying backstage, I'm kind of in a football coma, which happens to me anyway, and just think it's going to be Saturday tomorrow, so I'm going to really be in a coma on Monday. But you just reminded me we had the 49ers game and the Dolphins game both at Lambeau Field since you and I recorded last, and it was only a week and a couple of days ago that we recorded last.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. So I guess I'm happy. I'm happy we don't have a lot of injuries.
Oh yeah.
That was a big, that's always a big thing. It's like, don't get hurt, because it's getting to be that time. And I do feel
against the 49ers, sorry to interrupt, against the 49ers, who are definitely hit with it right now. Like, that's rough. And
they
not
really
that I'm
are.
like saying, anything about like our win against them was affected by that, even though it clearly was. Win's a win, but sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
No, that's good. That's good. And the 49ers, have been having that happen the last couple of years, like just devastating injuries
Hmm.
across the board, but they usually find a way out of it. Or they get healed up in time. And I feel like, we've had our quarterback missing half the
Hmm.
season. So
Exactly.
okay, cry some tears for us, because
Hmm.
we've had a lot of injuries. We didn't have Jair Alexander.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so, and we have other injuries as well, people out for the whole year. So it's not like we don't have any injuries
Right.
to it's that time of year when everybody does. Everybody has them. I was a little disappointed that Brock Purdy didn't play, because I enjoy watching him. I do like watching Brock Purdy. I think
Really?
he's
Why is
got.
that? Like I had nothing him. So like, what is he like about him?
Well, I think kind of like Justin Herbert when he was thrown in at the last minute with
Hmm.
the injury to their QB1. Yeah, I happened to be watching that game. I happened to be watching when Brock Purdy was thrown in, and it was like, it's hard for me not to like cheer for him personally.
Okay.
And
I can get down with that.
he's a
Yeah.
good kid. I like how he disconnects in the off season. Like he goes off to some farm. I guess he's engaged to, married to, girlfriend. I'm not sure. Somebody in Iowa. Maybe he's from Iowa, and he just goes off and works on a farm and just completely disconnects in a way that he just seems kind of wholesome and in
Hmm.
Midwestern. And I just like him.
Yeah.
I just like him. There's a lot of players I absolutely despise, but I like Brock Purdy. I won't mention the ones I despise
Sure.
usually. Oh, and by the way, and I don't despise him, but Zadarius is now on the Lions team. That was a good move
Hmm.
for them. Good move for them. Oh, yeah. So, okay. So Bill says he's the 49ers' Jordy Nelson.
Yeah. Seriously, like that sort of farm connection, sort of wholesome. That's a
Yeah,
good observation. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. So, so I was disappointed he wasn't going to play, but their backup quarterback, and I forgot his name, he did very well. So
Surprisingly
that,
well. Yeah. He played for the
yeah,
Bengals for a while, actually. So I kind of knew his work a little bit, kind of
right.
remembered him because he did pretty well with the Bengals. He got him a few wins when he was, in. Yeah, he did, about as good as you could hope to do.
Is it McManus? Is that his name? I could be.
No, that's our kicker.
Oh my gosh! Right. They
I
kind
can't
of
even
look
name that.
similar. They kind of look similar to one
The
another.
name comes and goes once you're done with
Yeah,
that name, but
but
whatever
Matt
it is.
LaFleur said he thought he was a pretty good player. He had played with Matt
Hmm.
prior. So it wasn't because of their quarterback that game was lost.
Right. I'd totally agree with that. It's because the team isn't as good. Even if they had all their people, and I feel like they're not as good as they have been.
Right.
Um, hopefully, and I say this with all the vindictiveness I can muster. Like I hope their season's over officially. I hope they have no chance of making the playoffs. Hope we officially, killed that dream for them, because man, I'm sick of the 49ers. I was so happy to beat them. It's just so joyful. Such a tasty game. So happy about it.
Yeah, I know. You really, and yeah, for sure. Me too. And I feel that way about the Chiefs.
Hmm.
That game against yesterday against the
Oh,
Raiders, that last minute BS, like what?
uh,
Oh, infuriating. The Raiders
yes,
had that game, and that would have
they
been
did.
something. Raiders to take out the Chiefs. They do. So that just tells me the Chiefs aren't that great.
Oh yeah, they've been scraping by, and most of their wins have been a bunch
Uh
of one
huh.
score wins. Yeah, just scraping by.
Just
Not
scraping
unlike
by.
the Vikings been kind of like that too, to some degree, lately at least.
Yeah, lately the Vikings have been like that. Or we're like that last year and the year before too.
That's
Just
true.
that's why people were calling them frauds. I don't know if I'd go
Exactly.
that far,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah. We'll
Well,
see. We'll
that
see.
Viking game was the most ridiculous ending I've seen to a game, I think, in a long time. That was just so silly. It was just the most Bears way to lose, with the clock
Oh,
mismanagement. It was just ridiculous.
unbelievable. And yeah, I mean, and Eberflus finally got fired for that. I mean, that was
Yeah,
crazy.
that's unfortunate. I liked him being their coach because they
Right.
weren't as good because of him. I was like,
Yeah.
Eberflus for life. Come on, keep him on, guys.
Right,
No,
right.
not so much. Not so much.
I like to call him Eberfluff.
So the Dolphins game, I watched that over at like after Thanksgiving dinner was done. We were still at the in-laws' house. Just got to watch that with folks there, which was really fun. I went home at the beginning of the fourth quarter because we had the game pretty well in hand at that point. But I love watching football with people because a lot of times it's just like me by myself watching it. You know, with online Packers Twitter and Blue Sky and what have you community. You know, along with. But it's fun to actually watch it with people, and so that was a good time. You know, bellies are full, pumpkin pie in hand. You know, sitting there with family, just happy about everything. It was great. How about you? What did you watch it with folks or by yourself, or how did it work out for you?
We had a little reunion of the friends who watched the Brazil game, the first game of the season. They invited me over, and she was she's kind of a newer neighbor, not newer, but she's just getting herself established. She's like in her 30s, my friend, and her parents are from Wisconsin, so she's Packer fan. Remember I said, oh, I've got a new neighbor and she's a Packer fan. And she's so cute because she had just gotten a new couch and she had this big screen, like this enormous television, and she had it all. She's like, I got it all hooked up so you can watch the game, so we can have the game on. And the first set, right, when we went out, was just horrifying, and I was yelling, and then
and like the punt,
it just started, and I'm like, you know, and I'm not usually that, but it was a mess, that first set of the first, and then we got the turnover. And I was screaming about that. And I'm like, I'm not you. And they're just like, oh my gosh. And I said, I can go home if you want. But that was the only time during the game I felt compelled to scream, because then the rest of the game, it was like we just had the Dolphins in hand.
Just dominated them. Yeah. I mean, was it Xavier McKinney afterwards who said like they just look cold out there, like tired or whatever it was after the game? I can't remember if it was him who said it, but like that's really true, because that's the thing we kept commenting on whenever they showed, like, you know, Tyreek on the sidelines, for example. He just looked kind of like I don't want to be here.
No,
I don't want to be here. I was like, yes, maybe there is a cold advantage after all at Lambeau Field. Maybe there's still a little bit of like, you know, being an advantage for a home game at Lambeau for the Packers.
Maybe our current team will bring that back. It should be, and our team seemed ready to play and so happy.
Yeah.
It was, you know, in the whole turkey leg, it was just adorable. They did look miserable, and I love Mike McDaniel, and his nose was so red. He looked like red. A little.
I know.
He
looked like a Puffs commercial.
Right. A Puffs. That's perfect. So no, it was. So I settled down, and honestly, I was so relaxed during that whole game, because we've had so many nail biter endings, you know, so many like walk-off field goal wins and blocked field goal wins. We would have lost there, like all the way up to the end. And I think if it would have been like that, I probably would have only watched the first half over there and then come home just because I have to be in my misery on my own. But I was just like sitting there just chatting and watching the game, and I'm like, okay, check, you know. It was the most relaxed game all season, really. And then it was so nice, the little flurries. We didn't have a snow globe, which would have been great, but just seeing some flurries, and the winter is coming. I honestly I feel like it's hard. It would be, for me personally, it's harder to do things when it's super hot. Like, can you imagine getting in all those pads and all those layers of clothing that they have to get into, and playing in 80-degree sun or more, or humidity? I
kind of imagine it, actually, because of marching band in the summer, wearing like big, heavy wool, you know, outfits and marching down the street and those things. That was not the same as playing a football game, but not too different in terms of the stress you're going through, because it's like, you know, you're marching down the hot street and that stuff. So it's terrible. It is awful.
It's terrible. And actually, wool actually even breathes better than that nylon crap that they're wearing. It's just, I know this from where I used to run a lot, and even it wasn't humid here and hot like Miami, but just the sun burning down. And if it's 70 degrees or whatever, the pavement is 120, you know, so, and the heat radiates up, and it seems like it would be just hard to play in the heat as it would in the cold. Yeah. So
totally agree.
But it was super enjoyable. I'm kind of like, we're here. Like, we're not stressing. We're arrived, and timing is everything, and peaking at the right time, getting those I was hoping for this all year. And wow, we'll see what happens. The next game is going to be super important, obviously, because we're playing the number one team right there, the number one in the league, or they tied with Kansas.
Depends how you look at it. I mean, since it's different conferences, it's kind of different, but
that's true.
I feel like the Lions are the most complete team in the entire NFL right now. I mean, they're ridiculous. Yeah. So if we can knock them off like we did in the second game we played them last year, of course on Thanksgiving
at home.
It'll be a home game for them again. So I'm very excited. I would say maybe a little nervous for it, but like just really raring to go. Oh, and speaking of, since that's a Thursday night game, of course next week we'll also be recording on a Saturday instead of on the usual Thursday night because we want to watch that game. So
we don't want to even miss a second. I don't want to.
That's right. I don't know.
Yeah, and be even distracted. It's like if I'm stressing or sad, I have to be in it. Like I have to experience it. Good reminder. I felt comforted by the way the Bears almost took them at home. On whatever day that was.
Recently.
Thursday. On Thursday. I felt comforted. I'm not, feeling So in fact, one of my superlatives, let me just share that with you.
Yeah, let's move into it. Why not?
Yeah, is most ouchies. Because the Lions are dropping like flies.
Most ouchies. Love that.
Ouchies. Okay, noteworthy defensive players, including Josh Pascal, and I learned how to say this guy's name. Let me try. Defensive end Levi Onzuri. Oh, I lost it. I practiced it.
Isn't it on Woo? Is that how it goes?
Onwuzurike or something like. I'm so sorry, Levi. I'm so sorry. I practiced like 20 times.
Oh no. Yeah, I think it's Onwuzurike.
Yes, that's it. That's it. And middle linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez. They call him Rodrigo. They lost those three defensive players just in that Bears game. Thank you, Bears. At least they didn't win, but at least I'm sorry. And then, but they already have out Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, and Alex Anzalone. Very important. And they didn't mention this. What out was Taylor Decker, who's a tackle.
Oh, he was out too? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and then questionable for that game, and I don't remember if they played or not, was St. Brown, wide receiver. It's not.
He was in.
Yeah, I think he was in, and Montgomery, their running back, who I think was in and out. So they're banged up. Their defensive line especially. So hopefully we have something for them. And Dan Campbell, their coach, is mostly concerned about Rodrigo for some reason. I got this from combining the injury report from their game Thursday, and then another article from Nick Meyer a couple of days ago on Athlon Sports. Detroit Lions coach. It's about Dan Campbell's comments about the injuries. So, but that's a lot. That's a lot of injuries compared to, we don't have a lot of injuries. So I'm feeling like we're good enough. And our coaches are certainly outstanding. Oh, by the way, I forgot Joe Barry was the defensive coordinator for the Dolphins.
Defensive backs coordinator. Yeah, he's just.
Oh, that's right. And linebacker coach. That's right.
Yeah.
He's not the.
Linebacker, not defensive backs. Right.
Right.
What's something in there? He's not the top of that particular pyramid, suffice to say.
That's right. I forgot about that. So, but we kind of knew what to expect because, Anywho, so how do you feel about? I don't like to celebrate injuries, but man, it does matter. It's part of the game. It's part of our game. We can have injuries. We can have more by the time we're having our little mini bye until next Thursday. It's not really a mini bye. It's only a week. Why'd they say it was a mini bye?
After the Lions game, it'll be like a mini bye because it'll be longer till the next game, which would be on a Sunday. So we're not in the mini bye yet, but we will be after the Lions game.
Right. Yeah, I think some people were calling a mini bye because thinking it was Sunday, but no, we're playing again on Thursday. Right. So so they have a lot of injuries right now to deal with, to contend with. They did get Zadarius Smith in. He went out for a minute with probably his back was hurting or something. He looked like he was, but then he went back in. Yeah. So anywho, most ouchies.
All right. Should I do my first one?
Sure.
All right, Don. My first superlative for the week, and actually I have 4 this week, which is unusual. I almost always have 3, but especially with 2 games, there's just so much good stuff coming out from all our favorite content creators. I couldn't cut down any of these. I was like, these 4 have to be it, and of course a bunch of others were almost in too. So my 4 for the week. My first one is best analysis. So this is Tyler Brook wrote an article for the 33rd team, which is a website he works for. It's a great website. And it was NFL's big bet on star running backs is paying off in 2024. So, Don, I loved this article because it gave us some analysis about like why the running backs have become sort of devalued. So kind of like what the context has been coming into it. I mean, you hear the phrase running backs don't matter all the time. There's even an important website, that's named that. So suffice to say that's kind of the culture that's been developed and sort of the mindset. So he wrote about kind of that, how it led up into this season where the star running backs are making a huge difference on their teams, including Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, and so on. And then kind of went into what this could mean for the future of the position, especially looking at some of the potential draft, folks will be draft picks, in the future. Because Tyler Brook does a lot of stuff with the draft as well. So he has, definitely his antenna in the air for that stuff. So kind of giving us a little bit of a preview of what we might see and how that could affect running back value. Because he's got these guys coming in, I guess there's some really, really good ones coming up for this next draft. So
okay.
Just like a really, really wonderfully comprehensive article on context, present, and future, with that. And Tyler's just such a great writer. Always a great to read his stuff. So that was fantastic. Did you see that article?
No, but I'm going to read it afterwards. And I actually have some downtime this week. And
nice.
So I put myself on a break because I'm always doing all this stuff. I'm like, no, you're going to have a break. But I like that. It's who brought that to our attention a lot was Aaron Jones, who is no longer, unfortunately, with the Packers because that was his thing, and I'm sensitive to that. And look at how much of a difference Aaron Jones made for us and is making for the Vikings. And of course, Josh Jacobs now. And I have never, by the way, in the roster predictions, I had Emmanuel in there. A lot of people were kicking him off the team, and I believe in him. I also believe in Clay Walker, by the way. I always did. I mean, they're a young team. I just feel like we can't give up on these guys so quickly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of those guys who've been sort of derided this season, between Clay Walker and Lucas Van Ness are really starting to come on now. So it's good to see them getting hot, I guess, at the right time. It's been really cool to see that. Because I mean, you hate to hear fans, bad mouthing players on the team, and I get what they do. I mean, I would be, lying if I said I've never done that as well. But good to see them actually kind of like showing up now.
Yeah. And I think this year, especially in last year, I kind of didn't want to do that because we know they're a really young team and they're developing. Like the Packers are a draft and develop team. They're a developing team. They develop their players very well, not just quarterbackers. So quarterbacks.
I was gonna roll that. I like quarterbacker. What's up, quarterbacker?
Linebacker, quarterbacker. Why not? So okay. So I will read that for sure. Thank you for that. On the matter of, since we were talking about the Dolphins game most recently, I just wanted to update everybody. My superlative is most sketchy cops, in parentheses, who obviously don't watch the Dolphins. And we're talking about Miami cops. So I have a Tyreek Hill incident update. And this comes from Dave Ehrenberg's YouTube channel. New elected sheriff in Miami charges dropped against Tyreek after
Ooh.
this newly elected sheriff.
Mhm.
And as far as we know, Tyreek is still pursuing civil charges, but no action has yet been taken. So there was a referendum in Miami to elect a sheriff. So they got that guy
Really?
out, right? After that.
Wow.
Yes. So they got that guy out. I guess that would have happened when everybody was voting, you know, a couple weeks ago in that insignificant election that just happened. So, yeah. So Tyreek Hill, the charges have been dropped against him. I can't remember
Good.
what they were exactly charging with, but I mean, it wasn't anything super big. But yeah, so Dave Ehrenberg has a super great guest host on that show, and I cannot think of her name. She's great. Sorry, I didn't write it down. Oh, here it is. I'm so sorry. I got to give you her name because I do adore her. Let me, Melba Pearson.
Okay, there we go.
As soon as I saw her face, I didn't even have to look at the name. Because she goes, hi. And I'm like, Melba Pearson, because I know her name. But she's really great for civil rights and that kind of thing. She's always shown up and very, very easy to listen to, but also very specific. She doesn't dumb down the law. You know what I mean? So it's worth knowing these things, that what can happen and whatever. I'm not going to go on and on about it, but that's an update and I meant to do that one last week. I think I knew about that last week. So that Tyreek at least can be happy about that, even though we beat them.
Even though we beat him. Even though we beat him in the cold and made him look sad on the sideline.
He looked really bad. He kind of looked almost angry. Did he look sad? You know who looked despondent was on another, back to the Lions Bears when they almost lost that game to the Bears. What's their quarterbacker's name?
Gil Williams?
No, the Lions.
Oh, Jared Goff.
Gosh, my brain. Jared Goff.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He looked like, but he kind of looked like he always looked before. Like, how did this happen? You know what I mean?
He looks like a sad boy. He has a sad boy face. Yeah.
He's sad. But I was like, oh man, I haven't seen that face on him in a while. Mm-hmm. So that was a real scare for them. Anyway, I just kind of jumped all over it. So that was my second superlative. What do you have next?
Yeah, my second one is best long form piece. So this was Ty Dunn, who of course writes for his own, I think, is it a Substack? Is the website? Whatever it is, Go Long. Yes. This is Don. This was so good. This is so good. So the title was, let's see here. It Will Happen: Why Hall of Famer Leroy Butler Sees Greatness in Evan Williams. So basically Leroy Butler had been saying some stuff about Evan Williams, very positive, saying like he can really see a lot of potential in him. So I'm not sure if exactly it was that Ty Dunn got them together to have dinner and talk. I think that's kind of what it was. So they got together in Green Bay, and basically Ty was there to kind of like record what was happening, about the conversation and kind of like listen in and see what they're talking about. And so they had dinner for like 2 hours, just sitting there, talking back and forth, and just hearing, what Leroy Butler is seeing in Evan Williams and talking about like why he sees that, what his experience was like, what wisdom he can impart to Evan Williams. It was amazing. And then hearing how Evan Williams would respond to stuff that Leroy Butler was saying, like this sort of maturity and insight that he had, like it just got me so excited and so happy for the team. Evan Williams has really been coming on like for I don't know, the last many games. I think the last probably 5 or 6 games at least, right?
Yeah.
And so to get to know him better, through this long form article was amazing. But then not just that, but then just to see how smart he is, how wise he is, it was exceptional. I mean,
wow.
Of course, Go Long is all about like the long form stuff that Ty writes, and this was just another great example of his outstanding writing. And it's such a fun article. And me, I love Leroy Butler because I listen to the Leap 36 podcast he does, which by the way just had its 100th episode. So congratulations to him and Gary and all the other guys. It was a fun episode, of course. They always are funny episodes. So just anything where you can kind of catch Leroy Butler talking, kind of bringing his knowledge and his experience and his humor to anything he does is always a lot of fun. I mean, like, and while we're at it, it's kind of a triple play for Leroy Butler, because after, the game against the Dolphins, where he got to give Jordan Love his turkey leg, his justice.
I know, he calls him his uncle. Yes, his nephew.
Nephew. That was so fun to see him. Like, they kept showing him before the end, like cooking, the turkeys and stuff.
Yes. Which
was like, I was like, hey, Laura Butler's there. It's funny that they keep showing him. And I didn't know he'd be, out there on the field at the end. So I was like, oh, there he is, and he's handing out the stuff and being awesome. And it was a great Leroy Butler week for all the fans, so that was a lot of fun. But that article is exceptional. I highly recommend it. It is, as a long form thing, you got to sit down and put aside like 15 minutes to read it, but it's time well spent.
I like it. Thank you. That's wonderful. He's everyone. Leroy has our heart. My sister really adores him. He lives near my sister and my mother.
Oh, really?
In Mount Pleasant. Yeah. I think she says that, that he's been known to just do things around town and be seen. She never has interrupted him or anything like that. But
yeah,
I think she should. I think she should say hi. She's such an invested Packer fan. You know what I mean? So when they have events and things, she'll go to those. But
yeah.
Anywho, well, I have 3 under my Most Black Friday.
A cluster.
Yes. So, okay. So I thought, and I'm just going to power through real quick.
Sure.
I thought there was a good, it was Rich Eisen. And so the first one is Bears drama continues with their firing of head coach in the middle of the season. And Rich Eisen brought this out, and I checked it. It's true. Last time the Bears replaced a coach in the middle of a season, when was Papa Bear Halas had to go fight in World War II. So that was a big deal for them. Yeah, that was a big deal. And I mean, it would be a big deal for any team, but like we expected of certain teams like the Jets.
Yep.
And other teams but the Bears are more established historic,
Yeah, they don't usually do that. I mean,
right.
That was almost unprecedented for them, in a lot of ways. It was crazy. And I feel bad for the fans sometimes, but only so bad. Only so much,
because they're so rude to us. But yes, never return evil for evil, as they say. But I'd be curious to know why, if it was I already forgot his name, Eberfluff, who actually fired the I already forgot his name, he's gone. If he fired the defensive coach, or was it the offensive coach, right? Like 2 weeks ago, did he do that? And now they fired him. I don't know. Maybe he made some kind of promise.
Yeah, I don't know.
It
was
good question. Disastrous. So what a disaster.
Yeah.
Number 2, lucky Chiefs win in the last seconds of the game. Was it lucky or was it rigged? This is from Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco, who I adore. And what's interesting is, of course, if anyone that has a platform like that of millions and millions and they have the respect of the NFL, they're not going to be out there saying it's rigged. But I'll tell you something, when people are silent about something or they just go right up to the edge, it kind of makes you wonder if they do think that. I think Ocho Cinco is kind of like, that's a lot of luck.
Yeah. Well, and when every game could hinge on like 1 or 2 plays, and you have a ref give you 1 or 2 calls that like maybe they shouldn't, that can be all it takes to win a game sometimes. So you wonder. You gotta wonder.
I have to wonder. I love I love a good conspiracy anyway. Okay, and then the other most black thing, and I think honestly this was more black than either of the 2 prior, and this was Tom Brady giving his unsolicited opinion about Daniel Jones during the broadcast, during the national international broadcast Okay. So here's the backstory is I haven't listened to Brady announce any of the games
Oof,
because I tend to mute, not just for the Packers games, but I will mute the national broadcast. I'll watch it, of course, and then mute the sound and listen to the local broadcast because I feel like I'm learning more. I get more insights to what's really going on and less of the fluff. Well, I actually decided I'll listen to Brady. I couldn't make it through the whole thing. And I am not like, I thought people just don't like him and that's why they're saying this stuff. But I never heard anyone so self-absorbed. Like everything was, anytime anything was asked of him, or even when he was commenting, he would turn it into I would love for somebody to count the number of times he said I, meaning himself, during the broadcast, because I did this and I did this and I did that. It was like, oh, and then he shows up and then he comes up with this unsolicited opinion about Daniel Jones, right? Like, who asked you? And okay, so what he said, did you hear it?
No, I didn't. I actually didn't watch that game.
It's actually pretty, there's people talking about it. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And he basically said, well, Daniel Jones shouldn't have left asked to be released from the Giants. Okay, so Daniel Jones, of course, was the quarterback, and then he was benched. And they said basically they knew that they were going to get rid of him at the end of the year. And so he was just going to like not play. Well, then they started having him play on the practice squad as a safety and stuff like that. Yes. So he wasn't even practicing with the practice squad as a quarterback. And when that happened, he's like, well, I can't even practice. Okay. And after he was benched and before he actually left, a lot of the teammates were very open about their support of Daniel Jones.
Oh.
Right. So it wasn't like he was a problem. He had the respect of the locker room. And so Brady comes out there and he's like, well, I wouldn't have done that and blah, blah, blah. Because he needs to stay there and support his team. Well, they weren't letting him support his team.
Yeah.
Right. So either he was ignorant as to the facts, which I doubt, or he was just trying to like slander Daniel Jones, which is bad because he has a national platform and he's part owner of a team. Right. So that could affect Daniel Jones getting another job.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah, it could. Yeah, that's a good point.
I was thinking it's almost slander. Like, I wonder if Daniel Jones could sue him for that, because I don't think he could, because the way he said it was like, well, I would have done that, or he shouldn't have done that. I can't remember, but it was kind of borderline. You shouldn't be saying those things, especially given that his team, he did support his team. He did everything. He left on very good terms. He did everything they asked of him. There wasn't any rifts, and the team did support him. So I just thought, I'm like, that is it for you, Brady. They need to just get rid of him. And a lot of people are talking about
they
this
can't.
issue.
Too much money tied up in him. I mean,
yeah,
they should, because Greg Olson would never,
No. No, I like Greg Olson so much. But
Justice
yeah,
for Greg
so
Olson.
that was my first time and my last time listening to Tom Brady
say
anything about anything. Honestly, that I was so disgusted by that. It was just uncalled for, really, just uncalled for.
Yeah, stick to the Hertz Rent-A-Car commercials, Brady.
Yeah, I mean, right. And I mean, it would be like saying, oh, Aaron Rodgers shouldn't have left the Green Bay Packers. It's up to him. Like he needs to, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter who it is. You're an owner of a team, you have this platform, and anyway, sorry, I will stop. But that was the most Black Friday incident that I
love it. Yeah, that cluster was great. I wasn't really paying attention to football yesterday, which, unusual, but we had company over, so I was hanging out with them and playing with kids and stuff like that. So totally missed kind of all the discourse around the game and the game itself. So good to have
and it was kind of a dumb game. Like, what was it, the Giants, and I can't remember who played the Giants and the Cowboys, right? So it wasn't like an important game, but it was a game, so I had it on.
Yeah, it was an important game for us, might be the way to say it, because I mean, I'm sure it was for the fans, but yeah. All right.
Yes.
Shall I do my next one then, Dawn?
Yes, please.
All right. My third of 4 superlatives is best podcast guest. So, for the 49ers recap episode for one of our favorite podcasts, Pax What She Said, Perry
Yes.
Goldstein wasn't available. So they had on Jen Curtin, who I've also heard, guest on Last Call Lambo, if not other places as well. And she's always so much fun to listen to because she brings a lot of energy. She's funny, and she's really insightful too. So to hear her then kind of there with Maggie Loney going over the 49ers game, it was a ton of fun. It was a great listen. It's good to, you get so used to hearing like Maggie and Perry kind of riff off each other, and they're so good. So then to hear Maggie like working with somebody else, it's fun. It's like, okay, how does she react to this, and how do they talk about this stuff? And it was, of course, it was excellent, because I mean, first of all, let's just say Maggie Loney, easily one of the best football minds in the Packers content creator world, just fantastic. And I mean, and Bill backs me up on this in the chat. He says Jennifer was great. It's true, and she also has the cutest dog. So as a side note. So that was fantastic. Did you actually happen to catch that one, Dawn? I
did, and I saw Maggie post that she was going to be a guest. So I'm like, I'm on that. I couldn't watch it right at that second, but I watched it that evening. Yeah, for sure. I watched it on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched their show. I've always just listened to it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they always did that. I wish everybody would do it, honestly, but because
there have been more and more
people behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, we're trailblazers.
So it was very good to hear them both together, for sure. I think Perry was at the game. I think she went to the 49ers.
That's correct. Yeah, there's a lot of fun shots and skeets from there, whatever else. So that's right.
Nice. Well, what else do you have?
Oh,
bring her on home.
Yeah. So I do have one more, and so this was best versatility. This really impressed me. So another one of our favorite podcasts, Father Son Packers podcast. So our buddy, friend of the show, Tommy Barton Evans took on the task of both. Well, his dad was out because his dad is on vacation or something. I don't know. So I think his cousin joined him to fill in for Matt. So
nice.
Tommy took on the unenviable task of both breaking down the 49ers game and also previewing the Dolphins game. And the work they put into that show with all the stats they look up and analysis they do, it's substantial. Those are substantial podcasts. They're meaty podcasts they put together. So to kind of do like 2 podcasts in one, and with a guest host who did a great job, by the way, very impressive. Because I think a lot of other podcasts did do 2 separate episodes, which even that's a lot in the short amount of time. So I'm just like combine it into one mega episode was a ton of fun.
I like that.
I love their show. It's so good.
I'm glad you told me that, because I was really, because there's so many games and so much going on, I was really just looking at some of the post-game stuff today or listening to it. So I will grab that. Love your recommendations this week, of course, as always, Maddie.
Same to you, Dawn,
love them. Thank you. So any final thoughts before? So we have to wait all the way till Thursday for another Packers game. Are you going to be watching games tomorrow?
Probably watch a little casual. I tend to be casual on those weeks where the Packers aren't playing. Like, while I'm cooking, I'll probably have whatever game is on my phone at that moment. Maybe catch a little bit of one of them. I don't even know who's playing at what times. I've been looking at the schedule at all
yet either. I haven't even checked
a good like 1.5 games, but not like any where it's like the full game. So probably 3 half games or so. But just to have a nice, I'm really excited about that, actually, Don. To have a nice, like, stress-free Sunday is great, because we're also going to be putting up our Christmas decorations at home. So doing the holiday decorating and not have to worry about, like, okay, family, let's do it at these hours because I got to watch the Packers game. Like, that's kind of my family. So just be able to focus on the family tomorrow instead of having to like have half a brain on football is half a brain's all I can spare. Don. That's all I got up here. So being able to focus is gonna be really nice. So I'm excited about it.
I like that. So you go back to work on Monday?
That's correct.
All right. And next week we'll record again on Saturday because
That's
Thursday
right.
night football is, of course, the Packers Lions game.
Mhm.
And I had another question for you.
Yeah.
What was? Oh, so are you having like snow there where you live? Is it winter
Mm,
now?
we had a little bit of snow. When was that? Like a week ago. I can't remember when it was exactly. It was about a week ago. It got
Okay.
suddenly really cold. Got some snow for about 2 days, but it was hardly accumulating. It was kind of settling on trees, but the ground is still warm enough that it wasn't really accumulating there, not substantially. And then it all
Mm-hmm.
melted right away, like the next day.
Yeah.
But it is cold today. It was below freezing when we went to the theater, so it's. I think it's safe to say like it's winter as much as wintry as it gets in Cincinnati, which is not even that much. So
Right.
yeah, pretty much. And I know it's like what 61 degrees where you're at, so deep winter for you guys.
Yeah. Is it 61? That's cold. I hope
I
it's
was
not
just
that cold.
61.
I'm
That's cold.
looking. No, no, it's 68.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah, it
chilly
was
because
27 when
we
we left the house today.
well, if we had a cold spell, it would be like 64. 61 would be really cold for us. But our nights are getting colder, which is cool.
Mhm.
We're having this weird thing now where the ocean is warmer than the air.
Oh.
And so we're getting this huge fog bank in. And so it's making these incredible sunsets. Our best sunsets are now, like winter. Fall through winter are the very best sunsets. My friend posted a whole bunch of. I was out there, but I wasn't taking pictures. But I just kept I was walking with a friend, so I didn't stop. Normally, if I'm by myself, I'll stop and take photos and stuff. But we
Mhm.
were just walking, and I found another cat. I'm so worried about this
Oh no,
cat.
Dawn.
It's not a kitten, but I posted it to see, and I looked on the Paw Boost, it's called, for found cats, and I put her picture up there. But it almost came walking up to me. So, and it's like a Siamese, but it has like dark seal point brown around its eyes, like a mask.
Mhm.
There is a really cool looking cat. So I hope it's okay.
Those are two. Yeah.
I mean, it could be that it's somebody's and they just let their cat out, but it's right across. We're right by the beach here, so there's a big
Mhm.
busy road. PCH goes. So it's like 1, 2, 3 lanes each way with a
Mm.
cul-de-sac in the middle. Yeah, I'd be worried it would run across the street. Really.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway,
Prayers for the cat.
I'm gonna go
Prayers for
check on it. Yeah, after our show, I'm gonna
Mhm.
go walk over and see if it needs food. My neighbor
Excellent.
gave me a bunch of turkey for my cat, for my outside cat. So, anywho, well, cool, Maddie. So, I guess we'll see you next Saturday.
Next Saturday. That's
Let's
right.
bring her on home.
Yeah, and just a really, really quick final thoughts. I meant to work these in earlier. Just remembered about them.
Oh, sorry, we have
Just
a ton
a
of.
quick note to those who haven't already migrated at least in part over to Blue Sky yet. Would recommend. I've been loving the vibe over there. It's been
Yes.
staying positive and wonderful there. And in fact, just today, finally, Dara Carragher came over, so I was able to,
Yes.
follow him and get connected with him there. We got to have him on the show. I know he's in Ireland, so it's tricky to make that work, but we're
Right.
gonna figure that out one of these days.
Yes, we do need
because
to.
Dara's fantastic. My goodness, so happy about that. And then for those who are coming over who haven't made the switch yet, of course, when you come over, you'll want to be looking for your Packers people. There are two really good starter packs that people have assembled. So if you don't know what that is, it's where you can make a sort of a list of people where you can just follow them all en masse, just by pressing the button for that.
Right.
Very handy, because of course you come over, you're like, who's over here? How do I find these people?
Right.
So just look up a starter pack and just go. There's one that Paul Noonan, who we talk about a lot on the show, he put together a good one, and so did Ashlyn_B, who I've been striking a little bit of conversation with. She's fantastic. She's a good one as well. So check those out. Come on over to Blue Sky. It's great there. And with that, unless you have anything else, I'll bring it on.
Well, I just noticed, I'm sorry, we were ignoring the chat accidentally. So we've got a couple fun comments from Harley D. Hey, Harley, it's nice to see you. Wasn't that Louis Gizzard that said, I'd rather watch two mules fight over a carrot? So I guess he's talking about football. And I know Harley D from the Law Nerds here on YouTube.
Gotcha.
And good to see you, Harley. And then Little Dallas Cowboy said hi to you. Says, what time is it? It's rush hour.
Oh, for their quarterback, Cooper Rush, right?
Oh, I like that.
That's pretty clever. I like that.
And of course, Bill appreciated Jennifer as well as we did. And Lorenzo says, hi, Lorenzo. It's always good to see you. So I meant to, the sunsets right this time of year are just, I need to take some pictures for you guys so you can see them. So, okay. So with that, let's bring her home, Maddie.
I have one more final thought.
Oh, okay. That's good.
For this time, it's like a Midwest goodbye today.
Right.
Just real fast, I want to say, with this season of thankfulness, just to anybody who ever takes the time to listen to us, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. Just thanks so much. And if you ever joined us, ever commented in the chat, ever even just heard us on your podcast platform of choice, thank you very much.
Yes, I ditto. I second that. It does means the world to us. Thank you for remembering that.
Yeah.
And thank you, Bill. Another good show. Good to hear from you all. Yeah, it's good to see you all today.
Yes.
All right, Maddie.
So. All right. So, friends, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms, including Blue Sky. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. And the best way to help this podcast grow is by please sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right. Because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod, and we look forward to seeing you next week on
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens.